Ripple heading back to the White House. That's right, folks. We're going to be talking in this update who Kamala Harris is calling up so that she can get a reset when it comes to cryptocurrency. They are in full panic trying to get that crypto vote. We've already seen what the Republicans and Trump have been saying. They've been leaning in, gathering a lot of attention over this issue. But now we're starting to see that the Democrats, including Kamala Harris, they're picking up that phone. They're calling our good friend Brad, maybe not Brad directly, but they are bringing Ripple back to the White House. And this is the main point here, folks. No matter who gets elected, Brad Garlinghouse and the team at Ripple is perfectly positioned. Without further ado, let's get right on into this update. All of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. Really do appreciate all of your support. Let's roll. So right now, as I'm recording this Sunday night, this video will drop Monday morning. So we'll see how this market has traded overnight. But as I'm recording this, it's 8 o'clock on the West Coast, 11 p.m. Eastern. This video will drop 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. We're at 69,500 right now, 3,300 for Ethereum, and XRP's back up to 60.5 cents. Like I said, dropping this video in the morning, we'll see where we're at, but we're getting a Sunday pump right now. And let's go back to the Bitcoin chart here for a second. I want to show you this. Remember, Bitcoin conference, had my vertical line on the 25th. Trump spoke on the 27th. And this is what took us all the way up here to 69.5. And then we had the sell-off during his speech to the 666s. And then we have bounced and recovered. This Sunday pump is underway. We'll see how we open up Monday morning, but the crypto market's hanging in there. Now we have a big week ahead. More on that here briefly on the current events world stage. Erdogan says Turkey can enter Israel, quote, just as we entered Karabakh and Libya. So this is the president of Turkey flexing his muscles in this tinderbox that is the Middle East, ready to be set off at any single moment. We are praying for peace, and we have another leader trying to flex here on the world stage, not looking good. And we saw over the weekend another attack in Israel. It's still a very hot, very tense situation, and the impact on markets definitely cannot be understated at any moment. Like I said, there's dozens of different black swan events that could play out here that are the excuse or reason for a market correction. You already saw it this last week. We're going to continue to see what happens this week, and here's what we're looking at. CB consumer confidence data on Tuesday, JOLTS job openings data on Tuesday, and then the big one, the Fed rate decision and statement on Wednesday. Are they going to give us the pivot? Are they going to give us the rate cut? Everybody's begging for it. Wall Street's trying to price in 3 rate cuts this year. Some suggesting that we have enough data on the table for Fed Chair Powell to, cut the rates this week. And we're going to be watching because the volatility will be coming in regardless. ISM manufacturing PMI data on Thursday with June jobs report on Friday, and about 20% of the S&P 500 companies reporting earnings. And last week, that was part of what brought down so many of these companies like Tesla, Google, and others. And we're expecting, about 20% of the S&P 500 earnings reported this week. No matter what happens, it's going to be volatile. It's going to be shaky. And like I've been saying, I just got my cash on the sidelines. I'm ready to go with dry powder. When I do see opportunities, I can move. I'm not seeing anything that is jumping out at me right now, particularly looking at the cryptocurrency space. The equity market, I'm not really playing in there right now. But for the broader cryptos, I got my bags. I'm pretty happy. And we're going to have to get beat up quite a bit more for me to actually make any more entries at this point. Now, this is Finance Law, giving us a little bit of perspective on what we can expect next. It's not unusual to see a second inflationary wave as we're entering a recession. The wave hits producers hard, which is your PPI, Producer Price Index, as they're unable to pass costs on to the consumer, CPI. This is why there's a sudden surge in corporate loans followed by mass layoffs right before the crisis hits. Here's your chart, and you can see unemployment rate is the red line, and the Producer Price Index by commodity is in the blue. And so this is where we're expecting to see a second round of inflation come back. Like I've been saying, no matter who gets elected, that inflation, that money printer is getting turned back on. Same thing with Ripple. No matter who gets elected, they're perfectly positioned. No matter who gets elected, the printing press turns on, which is a perfect scenario for us in the digital asset space, precious metals as well. This is the situation in the UK per their own government, declaring that Britain is broken. The The UK government has described the country as broken amidst ongoing economic and social challenges. Well, that makes it easier, right? When the government's willing to come out themselves and say that they are broke from a financial perspective, and they are broken from broader policy and what's taking place in the streets of the country, right? Because it's the same thing over there. Despite the markets being up, in Wall Street and CNBC telling us that everything's fine, we're seeing a different situation on the ground. And this is not just in the UK. If you look across Europe, the pain has been felt. The recovery's underway, but there's still a long ways to go and a lot of problems to solve. The balance sheets of the central banks over there are just as bad as they are over here. And we've just been reporting on it last week, how our Fed has about $1 trillion of unrealized losses and now is on pace to lose $100 billion per year right now. That's their record right now. The run rate as far as losses go, $100 billion of realized losses, $1 trillion of unrealized. In the situations over in Europe, UK, just about as bad. Now, continuing on, and let's take a look here at a situation that's not very good either, and that would be Solana, controlled by 4,900 addresses, over 83% of Solana, controlled by just shy of 5,000 addresses. The average balance of this group is over $17 million. Now, this is something that we've been talking about, which is the VC pump and dump that is Solana from the very beginning, pumped up by FTX and Alameda Research, this trading group, basically a trading arm of Sam Bankman-Fried's Ponzi scheme. And they pumped up Solana big time. And here in the past year, we even saw the likes of Anthony Pump It Up Pompliano admitting on CNBC last week that he already dumped his Ethereum. He didn't even wait around for the ETF to go live. He dumped it last year and he moved it all into Solana. He's wrote up the gains. And they've all been writing up the gains as we watch Lil Pump it up and put a tattoo on his face and all the other crazy ridiculous. All the celebrity coins are down from 70, 80, 90% rug pulls. Some of them just downright exit liquidity on most of them, though. And this is, once again, putting a massive blemish on the entire cryptocurrency space. When we're trying to be respected, now we're being called up from both sides of the aisle. They want to be crypto. They want to have a policy in place. And meanwhile, we got Lil Pump tatting it up on his face. And that's supposed to represent the future of finance. And we got the Bitcoin bros. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. And here we go. Peter Schiff responding to the Bitcoin conference and some of the ridiculousness that we get out of Wyoming Senator Cynthia Lummis, claiming that borrowing $70 billion to buy 1 million Bitcoin is this generation's Louisiana Purchase. The Louisiana Purchase almost doubled the size of the U.S. at a cost of 3 cents per acre. Borrowing billions to buy Bitcoin adds nothing but debt and inflation. And this is absolute truth, right? Whether you want to add Bitcoin on your balance sheet, that's fine. Should we add it, at the U.S. Treasury level? I don't think so, but I'm open to having the conversation. I'm really glad that this conversation is now, at the forefront for us all to talk about. What are we putting on our balance sheet as a strategic reserve? We have a strategic reserve of oil. Biden did a good job of depleting that. That's the only reason why gas prices have actually come down, right? It's because we've drained our strategic petroleum reserve and our economy is actually slowing down too. So, we have strategic reserve. Should we have a strategic reserve of Bitcoin? I don't think so, but we do already have some, and we're going to continue to probably confiscate Bitcoin through other criminal activity. So with that Bitcoin, I guess we can use it for something. But I would argue that we should be adding gold. We should be adding XRP. And in a separate video, I'm actually going to explain why I think XRP is a better strategic reserve than Bitcoin is. And so make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that update, because I'm going to be talking about why I think that we need to be making the case that XRP is a better strategic reserve asset than Bitcoin. More on that later. And maybe this is what Ripple will be talking about with Kamala. This is from Crypto Insight UK. Interesting that one of the 3 companies Kamala Harris spoke to in the US about crypto was Ripple. That would be Coinbase, Circle, and Ripple. This is from the Financial Times, and it was shared here today. Kamala Harris campaign seeks reset with crypto companies. And actually, we reported on this one live as we were covering the Trump speech yesterday, right? Unlock the U.S. election countdown newsletter. Here you go. And this is Financial Times. It says right here, Those include leading exchange Coinbase, stablecoin company Circle, and blockchain payments group Ripple, two of the people say. Now, I realize you guys can't see that. Let me show you right there. That part that's circled down there below, you guys can see that. The companies include leading exchange Coinbase, stablecoin company Circle, and blockchain payments group Ripple Labs. Now, I wonder if XRP was mentioned. I wonder if an RLUSD was mentioned. And this is something that I took away from the Trump speech that was absolutely massive yesterday. He said that stable coins is how we expand US dollar dominance around the world. And I couldn't agree more. I believe that this is why they've allowed Tether to go about with their fraudulent and deceptive schemes, because it keeps people using US dollar derivatives. And in this case, Tether, USDT. Now, Circle's done it legit. Coinbase trying to do it legit, still having to deal with the SEC, right? Everybody who's been legit trying to, work with our government, everybody's been sued by the SEC. The only one that has been clean has been Circle. Circle's gotten out of this, but they have a very simple stablecoin approach. They've been in compliance with the existing laws, and I believe that they're ready to help actually craft the new laws as well, why they're being called up by Kamala. But the main point that I want to get across here in this video, guys, is that no matter who gets elected, Ripple's going back to the White House. Ripple's already been in the White House. They're going to be going back. They were in the White House with Trump's administration. They, have been in talks during this administration, although this administration's kind of lost. We don't know where Joe's at. He's kind of just hanging out, right? I mean, he effectively has not even been the president for the past 3.5 years, if we're being honest with ourselves, right? I don't know how much of that conversation we can get into here, though, right? But the point being, no matter where we go, we have the perfect hand. We have the perfect hand. Ripple as an issuer of a stablecoin, and then the XRP neutral bridge currency on the world stage for cross-border payments. It's the 1-2 punch. Hey, we're giving the world a level playing field. This is what the world needs, XRP. And then here back home, we're ready to give you guys a competitive advantage if you'll let us, start issuing RLUSD. We're ready to, expand US dollar dominance, just like Trump said yesterday in his speech. So this is it. Now, Cameron Winklevoss, one of the Winklevoss twins, calling this one the Big Bluff. He says, beware of the Big Bluff. Harris and her advisors are in the process of working on a reset with the crypto industry. Being respectful of the vice president's time, let's be crystal clear here. Kamala Harris, please don't bother unless you are prepared to take swift, bold, and concrete action. You can't burn bridges for 4 years and expect to rebuild them with words alone. As President Trump astutely pointed out this weekend at the Bitcoin conference, we are a high IQ industry. Okay, Cameron. Okay, let's chill there. Chill. Let's relax. Okay. I felt like there was a little bit of sarcasm when he was calling the Bitcoin bros high IQ, but okay. We will not fall for any bluffs, and we will not be swayed by what you say. We will only consider what you do. And I agree. I agree with what Cameron's saying. You and your party retired Joe Biden, a sitting president, which means you can definitely retire Gary Gensler before November. Show us what can be. Now, I dropped a video on this yesterday talking about Trump, and he cannot directly fire Gary Gensler unless he has proper cause. And this is malfeasance. This is being inefficient. And there's a couple other circumstances where you actually can get rid of the chair, but you also get to anoint a new chair, or not anoint, appoint. Sorry, appoint a new chair. Gary Gensler does need to go to church probably and actually ask forgiveness for his sins. And as I mentioned very simply here today, why does Trump, every single time he talks about Gary Gensler, he brings up the fact that Gary was the CFO of the criminal campaign conspiracy? And you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what checks Gary Gensler was signing off on. You know exactly what type of activity was being funded by that campaign. I'm going to stop right there. The point being, folks, this is all getting exposed, and who's the victor? Who wins when this is all said and done? Whether it's, Democrats, Republican, this, that, who wins? We win. We've accumulated these assets. We're leaning into this technology. We're using this technology in our businesses. We're going to be able to sleep peacefully at night using this technology going forward after the regulations get set. Now, there is a lot of talk from both sides. We want to see the action, and I'm going to put Trump to it, just like I'm going to put Kamala to it, just like I'm going to put whoever else they decide to throw in. We're going to be holding these guys accountable, and we're going to elect John Deaton and others to take this fight straight to them. We got folks like Byron Donalds and others who have done the job of pressing Gary Gensler when he shows up, but we need to follow through with action. We need Gary Gensler gone. We need Operation Choke Point canceled. And we need to start talking about the damages done to communities like the XRP community. The damages are massive. Got a red folder filled up with all the evidence if you're ready to have that conversation. With that being said, folks, if you appreciate our updates, please make sure you like this video, share it out far and wide so we get the message out. Get your friends, family, and loved ones tapped into the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. And everything's at my website, zachrector.com. God bless you all. Thank you. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.